This meeting is being recorded.
Hi, Sherelle. Thank you for joining me today. It's good to see you again. How are you doing today?
Doing okay, just trying to get by through the week,
Okay. Well, I'm glad that you came today. I wanted to take some time and go ahead and see what's going on in your life, talk about anything that you want to talk about. And as we get a little closer to the end of our session, I will give you a heads up that it is getting to that time where we will end. And if you'd like to meet again next week, we can most definitely do that. And if this time and day works for you, we can do this time and day, or we can do something else, whatever works best for your schedule. Okay.
Okay, I really like this day. So, if we need to schedule another one, I definitely like this day to continue.
Okay, perfect. Now, before we start and we jump in, I just wanted to go over our confidentiality statement. Do you remember a little bit about that, what we had talked about?
Yeah, I think I remember, and like it stays in here unless if someone's hurting me or if I'm hurting someone or I want to hurt myself or unless if I give you permission to tell someone else.
Exactly. So if that, if any of that goes on and it's everything is between us unless, one of those things step in, and then we'll have to, I'll have to, bring another adult in here and then we'll go from there. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So let's begin. What's going on in your life? There's something you'd like to share?
Yeah, I've been kind of harboring some stuff, with so much stuff that I've been going through lately, I just feel like I haven't been getting a break, and it's kind of bringing me back to that time where I felt like I almost lost it, and just, that was a very bad feeling, and I'm just kind of feeling like I'm reaching that point in my life again.
And what kind of things are going on around you that you think is bringing you to that point? Like, what is it reminding you of that you feel like you're about to lose it?
Honestly, like a couple of years ago, well, after I had my son, I had very bad postpartum. So, just struggled with identity. And at that time too, I was in a domestic violence relationship. So it was a lot of just self-worth issues. And, I felt like I had to stay in that situation. And the constant fighting made me feel like I couldn't take it. And recently with everything going on, I just kind of feel like I'm nearing that part of my life again.
Okay. And if we were to put it on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the worst and 10 being the best, how did you feel back then on that scale? And then how do you feel now on a different scale? Are they pretty similar, or did you feel almost like worse then and then might be a bit different from now?
Honestly, it's like I feel like maybe the chain of events, like just how everything at once, it kind of felt like the intensity of like how I felt back then, 10 being the worst back then. Now I'm probably like a solid like 7, maybe 7.5. It's still very, very like chaotic right now, but since you put it on that like level to kind of compare, like I wouldn't say it is as bad as it was then.
Yeah. And do you think that, we deal with a lot of stressors in our life that we don't even realize sometimes. And sometimes once we've already been to a dark place, it's easy, or can be easy, to go back there. And once we feel the weight of the world on our shoulders, we get sad and our feelings are hurt, and it brings us there, even when we don't want it to. But do you think that you're able to see how far you've come, see how many different changes you've made in your life?
Definitely. The hardest thing about being in a domestic violence situation is leaving and feeling like you can get out of that. And I feel like by me getting out of that, and I did finish my degree, I did, start over and was able to just change my whole life around as far as that. I feel like, I did make progress, and, there is things to look forward to, but when when you just hit like a certain level and you just feel like when it's one thing, it's another thing, and it's just literally all just kind of affecting one another.
Yeah, it almost feels like that domino effect, or kind of like the saying, when it rains, it pours, right?
No, definitely, definitely.
Yeah. And it sounds like you've reached a lot of goals and you've done a lot of things since that time in your life, although unfortunate, but has really brought you to an amazing place now. And you've made such a great transformation. And it sounds like you're continuing to do such great things.
Yeah, but how do you get out of that mindset of like, I guess it's like you accomplish one thing and then you feel like, okay, like I don't know, like it's like this isn't good enough, or like I'm not doing this good enough. And that's like been the constant struggle like recently. Like I know I did all of that, but it's like, is what I'm doing, is it good enough? You get me? Like,
Yeah.
am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing?
Yeah, I completely understand. I think something that we as humans have a tendency of doing is sometimes we want progress right now and right here, right? We're all very sometimes eager and impatient individuals. I know I am sometimes. I'm like, I did something good. Where are the results? I want to see it. You know, let's say you go work out in the gym. I did my 30 minutes. How come I don't look different? Right? We do those things, and it doesn't work like that. It doesn't happen overnight, and sometimes we have to be patient with those goals of ours. We have to say, okay, I know that tomorrow I'm going to wake up and things are probably going to be the same, but in 6 months from now they probably won't be, right? So we have to have those. I kind of like a vision board. Do you know what a vision board is, Sherelle?
Yeah, I've heard of them. I haven't made one personally myself, but I'm familiar with them.
Okay, maybe that's something that we could do, or maybe that you'd like to do on your own time. So vision boards are usually more personal, right? So what you do is, you take some magazines, you cut out some pieces from papers, you look at things that inspire you, things that you want, goals that you want, all these different things that you want in your life. You're trying to project it and make it happen. It's your dream, that's your vision. So it's things that you want for yourself, and that's what keeps you going. And even if they seem completely impossible. You want a huge mansion with a pool and a basketball court, a tennis court, and you want 30 dogs. Well, put 30 dogs on your vision board. That's what's on mine. And there's nothing wrong with that. Right?
No,
So
definitely.
so you gotta those things will come into play. And I think sometimes we're really hard on ourselves. And just because we were in a certain situation once, we feel the need to continue to be hard on ourselves. We don't give ourselves enough credit the way that we should. And I think it's really important for you to give yourself the credit that you deserve. And every day you remind yourself of how far you've come, and you don't forget that. And you hold on to that. And even though it doesn't seem like it's enough at times, know that it is enough and that you are enough. And that's what you have to remember, truly. And that some days are hard, some days are harder, but it doesn't mean that those good days won't come, and doesn't mean there aren't good days waiting for you too.
No, I think
That
that's
makes,
definitely, it makes sense. I'm sorry to cut you off. It makes sense.
no,
I
you
think
didn't
that's
cut me off.
definitely the balance of life, right? You know, you you have good things happen and then you have a slew of bad things happen, and then it's like you get in that mindset like, can things get better, or like you get nervous when things get better, like, so that's kind of how I've been feeling lately. I've been feeling like, like, yeah, I've made progress, things are getting better, but then it's like, then I've had all this bad stuff happen, like my car accident, just everything lately. And I know it's my anxiety. I know, like you said, I have to be patient because things are, there are things I accomplished. There are things that are going my way, and I am continuing to better myself. And I can't get in that mindset of just, you know, like feeling like everything's horrible. But it's hard. It's not the easiest thing to do.
Of course, it's not easy, and it is hard, and we're our own worst enemy sometimes. We're at a constant battle with ourselves every day, right?
Yeah.
And 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 that makes it real difficult. And when you get that anxiety, what is it that you feel exactly, or do you have any coping mechanisms for your anxiety?
Honestly, when I get my anxiety, I just kind of seem to get like irritable and like overwhelmed. Little situations can kind of make me like want to just break down. I'm not necessarily a crier too much, but it'll make me want to get to that point. But I don't know really how I cope with anything. Like I try to like take time to myself. It's very hard with a 3-year-old, but you know, I try to take time to myself, music or like step out the room, whatever I have to do. But it's hard sometimes, I don't feel like I get that time to myself, if that makes sense.
And, sometimes we feel like we have to remind ourselves to make time for ourselves. And that already feels like a chore in itself. And then it doesn't feel as, you know, as much of a relief as it should, right? As we're like,
Yeah.
oh, that's right. Let me take time to myself. I have to pencil that in today. And then it feels like, okay, why am I doing it? It almost seems like it's a task and I already seem bothered that I have to do it. I might as well not do it. And then we continue to push it off. So that's why it's good to have a certain time in your day where you know you're going to do that. So let's say it's at the start of your day or at the end of your day. Or if you know you're free every day at 2 or 3 o'clock, it's a good time to implement that too, right? So let's say every morning at 6 a.m. or every night at 9 p.m., whenever. You read a book for that 10 minutes a day. Or you could write in a journal 10 minutes a day. It doesn't have to be big. Sometimes the time to ourself can be in small increments and it doesn't have to be hours out of our day or it doesn't have to be every single day, 5 times a day. It just can be in small doses. And then we look forward to when that small dose comes.
Yeah,
That makes sense?
I never really thought about it like that. Like, taking at least something as small as 10 minutes or like you never really think about that. I always feel like, okay, if I can't get 30 minutes or whatever, like it just doesn't matter. But thinking about taking 10 minutes from my time, makes a little bit more sense and maybe find that calm in the storm throughout the day.
Exactly. And maybe even more manageable, right? Sometimes people think time to yourself means an hour, and that's not always necessarily true. And then some of us also don't have an hour. But let's say you engage in that 10 minutes and okay, I only have 10 minutes. And then you look at the clock and you're like, it was 15 minutes. And it went by so fast. I didn't realize I gave myself 15. And then you feel even extra good. You're like, hey, I indulged it a little bit. And then the next time it turns into 20 and the next time it's 30. And then you're like, that just came so easy that you're enjoying it that much. And then it comes naturally. And we put it into our day as easily as we do with everything else. Is that something you'd be willing to try?
Yeah, it would be. I think definitely I like the vision board idea. I think that would be a good way to like kind of like pace the mind in a sense you know and I definitely like this idea of taking 10 minutes to just debrief with myself or mentally prepare whether it's meditating or writing in a journal or just whatever quiet time. I like that idea.
Okay, good. I'm glad. I'm really glad. Is there anything else that you'd like to share today? Do you feel a little bit better? You were able to express some of what was going on?
Yeah, I feel a little bit better. I was feeling definitely overwhelmed by all the work. Like, grad school hasn't been easy, but it's been manageable. But I guess some days they get harder than others and it can bring you down. But I definitely feel so much better after our session.
Good. I'm glad. I'm very glad. And don't forget to take that time to yourself and give yourself credit for all the work that you have done and you're continuing to do. And it's okay to get lost in everything that goes on. It happens. It happens to the best of us. That's why you're such a strong individual. You've gone as far as you have today, and you're going to keep going, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Of course. So for next time, if this works for you, same day, same time, this works for me as well.
Okay. I'll go ahead and make sure I schedule it with you.
Okay. And I really look forward to seeing you again.
Me too. Thank you for today's session.
Oh, of course. Have a good day, okay?
Okay. Bye.
Bye.